Hello everyone, welcome to PFEC Global Live session. PFEC Global is leading education and migration agency based in Australia. And today we are diving into world of Western Sydney University. And we have our fantastic speakers on board with us. So please welcome Khadiza Alam. She is our student education counselor based in our Sydney branch. And Mr. Gareth Lewis, he is the regional director from Western Sydney University. So welcome Khadiza and welcome Gareth.
Thank you.
Thank you, Debna. Hello, Gareth. Thank you for giving PFEC your precious time for today's live session. So you can start your presentation.
All right. Thank you, Khadiza. That's great. And welcome, listeners and viewers today. Good to have you with us. As Khadiza's mentioned, my name's Gareth. I look after our recruitment here at Western Sydney University. So we just want to spend a little bit of time today talking about a few features of Western Sydney and a few of the key programs for our international students. So a couple of fast facts for you about Western Sydney. We have a very strong student population, nearly 50,000 students now, and one of the top 50 universities in the world under 50 years of age. We also appear in rankings as well, usually within the top 300 or top 400 universities on Times Higher Ed and QS. We're also very, very proud of our #1 university status in the world against the Sustainable Development Goals under the Times Higher Education rankings. So a top 2% university that you're listening to today in the world with multiple multi-year scholarship opportunities for our international students. Okay, why Western Sydney? We've got a very, very broad range of undergraduate, postgraduate programs that you're covering all aspects of academic study, professional study, professional accreditations where possible, and our focus for teaching and learning is always geared towards employment outcomes. And so we incorporate into our degree programs work integrated learning, internships, placements, that kind of thing that will allow you to learn on the job, if you like, as you go along. Our academics, of course, are all PhD standard and above, and we have a very, very strong technology-enriched environment for your learning. Our facilities that are available to you are state-of-the-art, top-notch environments for teaching and learning to take place in. Comfortable, relaxing, modern, and of course, fully connected to the digital world. Western Sydney is great in terms of the location as well. Sydney itself as a city of learning offers you one of the strongest economic areas in the country, if not the most. Giving you a great opportunity for employment whilst you're studying. And of course, any work integrated learning opportunities that you have at the university will be more abundant given the Sydney setting in which you're studying. International students like Western Sydney, particularly students coming through PFEC, they might be from a South Asia background, from Bangladesh, from India, onshore here in Australia, from Nepal and different countries. We know that through PFEC, you get, there's a large number of students coming from those different countries. Our pricing is very attractive to those students. Many students coming from those markets are very, very keen to know that there's a good value for money for their study. And you'll see from some of the pricing that I show you in a minute that Western Sydney will offer you a very, very strong and competitive price. That's a standard. And then there's scholarship on top of that as well. And in fact, 86% of our students internationally do qualify for a scholarship. So talked a little bit about that already. As you can see, nearly 50,000 students. We're about 14% international. That's another point of difference from us. Many universities in Australia, many institutions, private institutions, are sometimes 50 to 100% international only. They don't recruit domestic students. Your situation here with us at Western Sydney is one where you'll be mixing as an international student broadly with a very, very high percentage of domestic students, which gives you a very, very different learning environment. Some of our rankings as well, very, very strong. In QS, Times Higher Education, you can see a few of those ones there. Students onshore in Australia who are already here, they're looking for that next program. They might be keen to focus on programs such as social work, nursing, engineering, teaching and education. And you can see all of those discipline areas appearing in the QS top 250. We have very, very good recognition from the three main rankings bodies globally. We're not right at the top of the tree in terms of like a Harvard or a Cambridge University, but we're a top 2% institution with subject rankings that are very, very strong indeed. Student support. Many of you might be considering a public university like Western Sydney. Some of you might be considering other institutions, private, small institutions that might be a little bit cheaper. One thing to remember is what a public university can offer you in terms of student support and facility. We invest as a not-for-profit organization. All the fees that the students pay go back into the university, so that ultimately you have better support services and you have better facilities as students. We have a very, very strong focus on careers and providing career service for international students. We have a dedicated team that specifically focus on international students, their career outcomes, their working opportunities whilst they're studying, their internships, their work placements, and of course their professional work that we aim to guide them towards after they've graduated. So one of the key differences that you'll find with a public university like us is that we can allocate a huge amount of resourcing to this, which may be different from other institutions you consider. Because of our public university status and our reputation and ranking, we find that organizations such as this one here, PricewaterhouseCoopers, PwC, are very keen to work with our institution. This particular program that we organize in our Parramatta campus for our students at Western Sydney is one which allows our not yet graduated students to get working opportunities in PwC, paid working opportunities. So this just supplements their degree. It's not integrated or part of their degree. It's just an opportunity that allows students who are in any discipline, in fact, to undertake a program of work with organizations like this. So this is something our careers team have organized with PwC. So you may well be interested in that. As you can see, we have many international students that are participating in this program. So there's great opportunity for any student from any background to do something like that. But of course, we have all the other welfare, student support services, workshops, peer-assisted study and mentoring programs, a whole range of other aspects, financial support, student welfare, study support, and of course, our library systems are very well resourced. And of course, there's some of those other aspects as well in terms of assistance, childcare facilities, depending on what your needs are. We also run a very, very extensive network of accommodation. Many people are thinking about accommodation at the moment. I know in Australia, there's a lot of discussion about availability for rooms to stay. You'll find that Western Sydney offers a much more economical living cost scenario than some of the other parts of Australia. You'll find also that our university accommodation in itself is very, very modern, new, and really well priced, considering what's happening in the economy at the moment and some of the private rentals that can become quite expensive. You can see from here an 8-bedroom apartment. If you're looking for the year, you've got a reasonably good weekly rate in Australian dollars there and no bills. So it provides you with a very, very secure and reduced cost opportunity for studying whilst living whilst obviously you're studying at the university. And of course, the big selection of courses. Western Sydney offers a comprehensive range of programs. Whatever you're interested in studying, we've probably got an undergraduate or postgraduate degree or research option available for you. Some of the popular ones are listed here. We have a significant focus from international students on technical programs, computing, engineering, ICT. but also particularly and more recently, students interested in things like social work. Nursing has always been, and health sciences, a big program choice for students, and of course our business degrees as well. Master's programs too, you can see similar discipline focus areas there for international. These are the ones that are most popular for international students. And I wanted to just move into the next stage now, just talking about a few of these programs, not all of them. I do have slides on many. And just to note that the fees are listed against these programs that I'll talk about, and of course the scholarships as well. All bachelor students will receive a $3,000 scholarship, regardless of study, apart from the Bachelor of Nursing program, which you have to qualify based on your previous academic study. For master's students, again, we've got these $3,000 or $6,000 scholarships available, and many of our popular master's degrees have an automatic $6,000 scholarship attached to them. So that's great news for you as a potential student for Western Sydney. And I'll get to those in a little while. But I just want to start off and talk about a little bit about our business programs. Our school is a AA CSB accredited institution. Many of our discipline areas have the professional accreditations as well. So, of course, that might mean CPA recognition in the accounting area. When it comes to other aspects like financial planning, you can see the FPEC, FPA accreditations are given to our courses. We seek accreditation professionally where possible. Campus is beautiful. The accreditations that we've got are listed all here. You can see the sort of variety there. Where possible, it's not just a public university, it's also professionally accredited as well. Some of our industry partners that we organize internships for our students with, and you can see they're broad and varied, some of them multinational, some of them more local businesses. Undergraduate accounting and business, around about $32,000 a year and a 3-year program. Different specializations available. Business is a very, very popular degree choice for international students, of course. For postgraduate, we've got a broad range available. Some popular ones I'll note, you can see the Master of Business Analytics, MBA in a whole different, multiple different areas of specialization for MBA. But of course, we've got finance, accounting, financial planning, management, marketing, things like that. Some options also at School of Business are 1-year master's options that allow you to complete a master's degree in a shorter space of time. This all depends on your previous bachelor degree, of course, making sure that you've got a previous business degree and that you've got a very strong result as well. Nursing, probably one of the most popular degrees at Western Sydney for international students. I'll just spend a little bit of time on this. Obviously, you can see we're fully accredited. Students that graduate from our nursing degrees, these next two I'm going to talk about, are entitled to then qualify as registered nurses in Australia. And that qualification and that professional designation is going to allow you a wonderful opportunity for work in this country, not only here in Australia, in fact, overseas as well. So you can see the ANMAC accreditations fully recognized for APRA, and we've got one of the strongest nursing rankings globally, ranked currently 49th in the world on the QS rankings. So ultimately, the bachelor program, you can see is a 3-year degree. It's just under $35,000 each year. And entry into that program is also dependent on you having an appropriate high school qualification, certificate 4-level Australian qualification framework qualification. And importantly, very importantly for nursing programs, you need IELTS 7 or PTE 65 in each band as a minimum score. 3 years, you spend a huge amount of time, 800 hours in off-campus clinical practice that we organize for you. And we have a huge number of students that enter this program each year. So there's a big quota. And of course, you can study in Parramatta, here in the center, geographical center of Sydney. But there are other campus locations in Hawkesbury, Liverpool, and Campbelltown campuses as well, open for you to come and study. This next program is very popular for students, Master of Nursing Practice, pre-reg course, 2-year program. We have January 25 intake, Hawkesbury, Parramatta campuses. We have about 160 available places, and our admissions team have just opened this up to application last week. So if you are interested in undertaking a postgraduate master's degree that will lead to nursing registration in Australia, this might be the course for you. You can see the costings there for the 2-year program, and there is that academic entry requirement where you will need to have a bachelor background in a health or human biology or behavioral science field within the last 10 years. Biological sciences also accepted. But the good news for students for 2025 intake, the next one, is that if you do have a bachelor degree but not in one of these fields, you are able to undertake our new program, which is the PTNS, the Preparation for Tertiary Nursing Studies at Western Sydney. It costs about $500, and you can access this by going through on our website, and you can apply and enroll online to undertake this course that might take you a few weeks, might take you a bit faster if you dedicate a lot of time to it. But once you've completed this particular qualification online, you can then, with your bachelor degree that is less than 10 years old, then you can submit your application to Western Sydney Admissions, and we can process you through for the potential for an offer letter for the Master of Nursing Practice. This starts in January 25, so important for you to be aware of that. We cannot allow students to apply who haven't undertaken this course. So if your bachelor degree is not one of these areas and you do need to undertake that course, you must have completed the PTNS course before you apply to Western Sydney. So far, we've issued no offers for 2025, and we have 160 places. So there's plenty of space available, but we have had a lot of applications come in over the last week, and we do anticipate a load more in the coming weeks. So if you are interested in taking this course, please be quick, act fast. And I do have to note down in red that completing the PTNS course is not a guarantee of your entry to MNP. So you might be undertaking a $499 cost commitment to undertake this course, but it might not get you a place in 2025. You might have to wait a bit longer, or it may be the case that you might be able to undertake a Master of Nursing program at a different university. They may well recognize our tertiary prep program. Lots of careers available for nurses. Great salary opportunities, especially as your career advances. So some considerations there. And of course, it's an occupation in demand in Australia. There is a genuine, continuing, ongoing demand for health clinicians in this country, whether they be nurses or other areas as well. Teachers are also in demand. There is a shortage of early childhood teachers and secondary school, high school teachers in this country. And of course, we have programs that can equip you with the accredited qualifications that will allow you to pursue those occupations here in this country. We do very well. We're highly ranked. We're one of the oldest teacher education universities in the country, and certainly in Sydney. And before we became a university officially in the 1980s, the institutes that existed prior were all focused on teacher education and training people. So we've got a huge, extensive history. Bachelor programs. You may be at that level now where you need to undertake a bachelor degree and you're thinking about becoming either an early childhood teacher or a secondary school teacher. We have programs available for you, and over 4 years you can qualify to become a teacher in one of these areas. IELTS 6.5 entry, it's a 4-year degree. A certificate 4 level or completed high school from your country will be enough to get you into this program. So there isn't an elevated English score required for bachelor degrees. We have a standard 6.5 IELTS, no band less than 6, or 58 PTE with a minimum band score of 50 for either of those programs. Both of them fully accredited. Both of them will lead to an occupation as an early childhood educator or a secondary school teacher in Australia. And as I mentioned earlier, there is a big demand for these. So it may be something for you to consider. Our school previously was almost exclusively a postgraduate coursework and research institution for teaching. So we have the master's degrees as well, Master of Teaching for Early Childhood and Master of Teaching Secondary. You can see the pricing there as well, $31,216. It's a pretty good competitive price point for a degree in this area. And again, these two-year programs will lead to full qualification as early childhood educator or high school teacher, and of course, primary school teacher in the first one. These both courses as well come with a 6,000 automatic scholarship. So in fact, in reality, your fees are not 31,216, they're 25,000 per year. Great opportunity for students who've got an existing bachelor degree. And if your bachelor degree is from here in Australia, that will also give you access to avoiding to evidence the IELTS 7.5 overall, with 7s in reading and writing and 8s in speaking and listening. Your completed bachelor degree in Australia allows you to bypass that requirement. Achieving those IELTS scores or the PTE equivalencies are not easy. If you have an IELTS 7 or a PTE 65, you might consider joining our Teaching Direct English Entry Program. So it's a 12-week English course that's available in March and September each year, and you can package your English program on this with your Master of Teaching degree as well. So it's a nice, easy way, or easier way, to qualify in the English language area. So these courses come with a 20% scholarship. Standard fee is $5,700 for this 12-week program, but it allows you to progress onto the course of Master of Teaching without needing to take IELTS again. So if you've got a 65 or a 7 overall, this could be the course for you. You take the NT Deep and come into the MTeach secondary or early childhood later. All right. Great opportunities for teachers in Australia. Big demand, an ongoing demand for high school teachers and early childhood educators in this country. Social work, another great program available at our institution here at Parramatta. Highly ranked for sociology on QS. We do very well in that whole discipline area in terms of our ranking. Work integrated learning, we both for nursing, teaching, and of course social work, we organize all of your placement practice, your field work, your teaching practice done in real learning environments here in Sydney, and of course the clinical practice that you do as a nurse. All of that's organized by us. You don't have to worry about that. And of course for social work, we're genuinely preparing you well for the workplace with 1,000 hours of supervised field placements. And of course, the accreditation sits with the AASW. You can see the undergraduate availability, a 4-year program, and of course, our Master of Social Work qualifying, very popular. The thing about the Masters, of course, is you need to have a cognate bachelor degree, something that's in the same area. So sociology, psychology, something like that, social science, that will allow you into that course. If you don't have that, though, the good news for you, especially at this time of year, is that we've got our postgraduate bridging social work program for 6 months that's available in July. That 6-month program will allow you to articulate into the master's degree in the following February in 2025. So you can package your postgraduate bridging social work with your Master of Social Work qualifying for next year. Great opportunity for you. And you can see the pricing on this is competitive. The Master of Social Work is $30,960 per year, but this also comes with a $6,000 multi-year scholarship automatically applied to all students for Master of Social Work qualifying. So that means that you'll have a $24,960 per annum price tag against that particular accredited master's degree. Note the overall IELTS score of 7 for that course direct in. If you come in via our postgraduate bridging, of course, you only need an IELTS of 6.5. So important information for you to have. And as I mentioned as well, the demand for social workers is great at the moment. It's an occupation in demand in Australia, so there should be good employment opportunities for you. I'll breeze over a couple of other areas. IT and engineering, again, popular at our institution. All of our IT programs will have ACS professional accreditation where possible. and some of the key programs here, computer science. Most of our international students now are undertaking programs like artificial intelligence, cybersecurity. You can see at an undergraduate level, we have that there. These bachelor degrees all come with an automatic $3,000 scholarship. So instead of 34, it's 31. You've got opportunities also in things like entertainment computing, mobile computing and networking, and of course, things like data science, which are increasingly a popular choice. Postgraduate degrees, a little bit higher in terms of cost, but similar areas. Cyber, artificial intelligence, web and mobile computing, space science, which is an interesting and growing area. And of course, you've got the automatic 6,000 scholarships. So you're looking at roughly $30,000 a year for these programs. So something to consider. Great industry partners, opportunities for work placements and professional practice. So we do encourage all of our IT students to consider this. Some of you also might be interested in research degrees as well. So a master's by research as a way of leveling up from your current master's degree, you might be interested in doing a research master's as an extension of your existing study. And we offer those options as well to our students. So consider that if you're in the IT space and you're looking for an additional qualification, or you're thinking of moving into higher degree research, the Master of Research ICT or Artificial Intelligence might be interesting for you. Very difficult for institutions to offer engineering degrees in Australia. You need a huge professional facility in order to teach engineering. And so most institutions privately are unable to do it, but public institutions like Western Sydney obviously offer you that opportunity. Strong rankings, up to top 75 in the world for civil, top 150 on electrical and electronic engineering. Great facilities given to our engineering students, some good responses too in our QUILT student survey reports. We do very well there, lots of industry partners, and a very, very good value for money cost proposition for all of our students. Different discipline areas, civil, construction, electrical, mechanical, all the typical available disciplines, specializations, but we've got things like advanced manufacturing, robotics, mechatronics, environmental engineering as well, both bachelor and masters, fully accredited by Engineers Australia, and all engineering work areas are in demand in Australia. There is a shortage of engineers. It may well be that you're considering undertaking a program such as this. So note the pricing for master's students in particular. There is an automatic 6,000 multi-year fee scholarship. So instead of 36,688, it'll be about 30,688 for you for the 2 years on your Master of Engineering study, for example. That's probably the best value for money engineering degree in the country. And of course, there's a big demand for engineers in the Western Sydney area in particular. For those of you already in Sydney and you're looking for that master's degree, you will have already seen the growth in infrastructure here in the western suburbs of Sydney. New airport, new roads and rail, new suburbs that are being built, industrial estates. There is a huge infrastructure growth in this particular region of Australia, and a huge private and government investment. Health, some of the programs, many of you might be considering some options for clinical health that are not nursing. If you are interested in other areas of allied clinical health, you might consider something like Bachelor of Occupational Therapy. This is an occupation in demand in Australia as well. OT, it's called, occupational therapy. We do not have enough practitioners of this. There is a demand for more. So you may wish to consider a program such as that if nursing is not for you, for example. But it is a 4-year course, leads to, of course, an accredited professional outcome recognized by the Occupational Therapy Council here in Australia. And of course, you will then register with APRA and you will be able to become an occupational therapy practitioner. Good option and many students undertake that. Slightly different from physiotherapy, but physiotherapy is another option at our institution as well. And we have things like podiatric medicine, along with things like speech pathology as well. So some other allied areas. Built environment, project management, construction management, that Bachelor of Construction Management. Construction managers are another in-demand area. We're fully accredited, and this degree comes as 4 years and offers you 1,200 hours of industry experience as well. You're basically finding a job before you graduate, and there is a massive growth in construction management, project management here in Australia. I'll flick through these a little bit. BCom, communications degrees are fairly popular, less so we found from some of our South Asian students in recent times, but it's a good price. Journalism, advertising, public relations, those courses available. Master of Science is a little bit more popular. Medical science, undergraduate science in multi-discipline areas, and our Master of Science degree has proved quite popular. Students from Bangladesh, India, Nepal, Pakistan have been undertaking this Master of Science program. Food science as well, agricultural science. Again, this comes with a multi-year 6,000 scholarships. So you're looking at roughly $30,000 a year. And of course, agricultural scientists and particularly food scientists as well have good opportunities for employment post-graduation. Okay, coming towards the end, thanks for your time, and any questions you've got, do let me know. A little bit on admissions requirements. I've just put the English broad information here. PFEC have all of this information to hand, so they can give you further information about that. But our standard IELTS entry is 6.5 with minimum 6 in each band for all of our degrees. But some degrees like nursing, I mentioned, occupational therapy, have slightly variant IELTS requirements. You can see social work is 7. Things like psychology, clinical is 7, and other programs, all the nursing ones, speech pathology, you've got Master of Teaching, have this elevated English requirement. But talk to your agent about the English level that you've got, but it's an important consideration for us to ensure that you do have the appropriate level. Most bachelor degrees, you can gain access with a certificate for or equivalent high school result from your country. Postgraduate requires a successfully completed bachelor degree on the AQF framework. So just as a general idea. And then the scholarships, as I mentioned, essentially we've got 3,000 per year or 6,000 per year options. All bachelor students will get 3,000 guaranteed. If your GPA from high school is strong, that can be considered for $6,000 a year in all of our courses. Bachelor of Nursing slightly different. Because of the demand for that course, for the 3-year Bachelor of Nursing, we do ask, there's no automatic 3,000 scholarship for that. We're asking our students to evidence a kind of GPA 4.8 out of 7, 68% score from what they've done previously in order to access a $3,000 scholarship. But our pricing is already reasonably good for that course, around about $34,000. And as a professional accredited nursing course in Australia, that's a very, very competitive rate. If you're coming through on a Australian HSC, maybe you're studying at high school in Australia, all students who've done HSC here in Australia are entitled to a $6,000 multi-year scholarship. Postgraduate, this year, it's an automatic $6,000 for the following courses. You can see all the popular ones are there. So from engineering, science, and ICT, you've got things like business analytics from our business school, social work, teaching, public health. All of these degrees come with a $6,000 scholarship. So I've listed on the right the costings for you per year as a result of study on those programs. But all of our degrees, all of our master's degrees are open to competitive scholarship. So if your course that you want to do is not listed here, but you've got a good GPA out of 7, 4.4, that will get you, or 63%, that will give you a 3,000 multi-year scholarship. And if it's 5.25 out of 7, you're looking at 6K. And we also have some, very few, but some 50% Vice Chancellor academic scholarships for students, both here onshore and offshore, available for the July intake. So for you to consider. All right, that's it from me. If there are any comments or questions that have come in, I'll be happy to hang on and answer those. Khadiza, over to you.
Yes. So I have a question to ask regarding all the scholarship you have like described the 3,001, 6,000, and we have a 50% scholarship as well. So what is the procedure to get that scholarship? Is it a automatic one, or do we have to apply separately?
Yeah, it's automatic, Khadiza. So we base our scholarships on nothing more than the academic standards that are evidenced by the documents that are sent to us. So we base our scholarship on the last completed qualification. And if they match or meet the requirements, the scholarship is automatically applied to the offer letter that comes out afterwards. So it's very, very simple. When it comes to the Vice Chancellor's 50%, students need to be in those ranges that I've mentioned here. So that's either like an ATAR 95 equivalent score, or if they're going to a postgraduate 50%, that's like a 6.7 out of 7. You've got to have a very, very elevated academic standard in order to qualify. Some students do, though. So in these cases, if you have been shortlisted for the 50% Vice Chancellor Scholarship, we will then invite you to write just a short kind of 250-word statement as to why you are deserving of it, and then we select there afterwards. So it's fairly straightforward, but you will have an invitation if you've been shortlisted for it. Any student that doesn't qualify for that will, of course, be offered the 6,000 multi-year scholarship for our master's program automatically. Yeah, so fairly easy to get the scholarship.
So another question I have that is there any collaboration work student can do with the faculty, like projects or research kind of works? Is it open for the students as well?
Yeah, look, all of our degrees will have some form of project work or a research component that's incorporated into the curriculum structure. And when the individual student is undertaking the course, they will be allocated a specific supervisor for that bit of research they're doing as part of the degree or the project. And of course, they have those opportunities to work closely with one of the academics during that phase. So for example, one of the options, say in the business analytics degree, is that when you come to the second year of that master's in business analytics, there would be an option for you to either do an internship externally in a company here in Sydney, or to do a project with one of our academic team. So you could undertake, through that supervised project, something with our academic team here. But of course, all of our degrees are available as research degrees as well, in a sense that, you might have completed a master's degree in something and you're looking to do research, and we offer supervision across a huge range of Master of Research options, and of course PhD as well. So those options are available, of course, at our research intensive institution.
It was a very informative session, I believe, and thank you for your time and insightful answer. And we are looking forward to exploring the option WSU has to offer the students.
Yeah.
Thank you, Gareth, for such an insightful session. So we have one question from Sanjita. So can you provide insights into the post-study work opportunities which are available for international students who graduate from Western Sydney University?
Sure. Thanks, Sanjita. Yeah, look, with the current visas available for international students, as you know, anyone completing a bachelor degree over a minimum of 2 years, usually 3 or 4, of course, will be eligible for a post-study work visa. on completion. And of course, anyone undertaking a 2-year master's degree will also be eligible for the government's temporary graduate skills visa, which I understand offers you 2 or 3 years of post-study work opportunity in Australia, which is great for our international students and great for, and one of the reasons I think why many international students choose Australia in the first place, as opposed to other countries that don't offer that generous work opportunity. But our university, like I mentioned, Sanjita, most of the degrees that we have incorporate especially into the final year, a significant amount of work integrated learning, where you could be out doing an internship, out doing practical placements, field placements, industrial experience, which is outside the university, that is organized by the university with you. And that's going to give you an increase your network, allowing you that ability to connect with employers outside. So you might be doing that Master of Business Analytics degree, and you elect to do the internship option in the second year, and that gives you an opportunity then to go and work with an organization in a business analytics role. They might like what you do, and of course, if you impress them well enough, there may be an opportunity for them to keep you on thereafter. I mentioned the PricewaterhouseCoopers earlier. We've had a number of students that have undertaken just some casual work hours with them as part of our program with PwC, and that they've been so impressed with those individuals during their casual hours that they've given them a 1-year contract afterwards. So during their temporary graduate skills visa duration, they've been able to get really good professional employment with organizations like PwC. So what I would recommend for any student coming to our university, though, is to engage closely with our careers service. I mentioned the careers service earlier. They open up a huge opportunity of information for you as an individual seeking professional employment and casual employment here in Sydney. So do reach out to them and use the free careers resources that we provide for all of our students. Sydney is a great city for job opportunity. If you go on to seek.com, if you go on to adzuna.com and look for employment options in Australia, you will see that just about every discipline area, every professional area of work, the most job opportunities exist in Sydney. Second is usually Melbourne, and then way down the list in terms of percentage of jobs available in that particular area, you'll find places like Brisbane, Adelaide and Perth. If you're looking for work, Sydney is a good city to be in. So I do encourage you to consider that when making your choice of university.
Yes, correct. A lot of networking opportunities in Sydney and Melbourne as well. Thank you, Gareth, for answering the questions. I have one more question, just to confirming. Are you offering conditional COE for master's program?
No. So look, for your for students who are seeking, particularly, we get this question in regard to nursing. We do need you to have met all of the conditions for the course in order to get the COE. So, for example, we have students in the past who've requested a conditional COE because they haven't yet got their PTE or IELTS score, for example. For courses like nursing, we're unable to do that. So you've got to present us with your existing and valid English program score in order for us to issue the COE. So it's usually a case of making sure that you've got all of the things completed prior to the COE being issued.
Right. And is there any GSR requirement for onshore students?
Yeah, good question as well. Look, every student and every university will require their applicants to submit a GSR, previously GTE, form signed, stating that you have the appropriate funding available and the appropriate sponsorship in order to undertake the course and have that financial backing. So all universities will ask you for that. We will as well. Now, if you are a student who is already in Australia but you have, for example, you're on a tourist visa, a visitor visa 600, there will be restrictions for your ability to apply on a student visa. And given the changes with the Department of Home Affairs, it's probably better for you to complete your visitor visa, return home, and apply for your student visa from offshore. So that's a little bit of a change. We've always done a full GTE or GSR check on students previously who've come from a visitor visa, switching to a 500 student visa. But at the moment, given the DHA changes, it's going to be much safer for you to return home and apply for your student visa offshore. But we do get a lot of students coming in off. They finished their post, or they're in the middle of doing their a temporary graduate skills post-study work visa, or maybe they've done one of those 408 COVID visas. We will need to look at those students closely, and we may ask those students to provide some information in regard to financial backing, sponsorship. We may require a back statement, but all students will be required to fill out the GTE form. And for many of them, we would also request that you are supplying an SOP. But actually, our SOP has been revised now to follow the Department of Home Affairs set of questions. So they obviously want to know the value of the course for your future, things like that, and the considerations that you've made. So we will ask for that SOP. And of course, if you are already here in Australia, we will also need to see your history of study and so on. That's one of the questions now that DHA want you to upload into their student visa application form. So we will ask about that in the SOP as well.
Sure. Thank you so much. Awesome. Very good information on the GSR requirement. And I think we are done with all the comments as of now.
Sure.
So thank you so much, Gareth, for your spending some time with us and sharing such insights about Western Sydney University. It's always important for international students to know detailed information about courses, intakes, and scholarship. And I'm sure it must have helped our viewers as well. And if students have any question, we'll directly assist them with admission and the process, and of course, again, intakes and scholarships. So thank you so much for coming and passing this information with us.
Wonderful. Thank you, Debna. And thank you, Khadiza, as well.
And thank you once again.
Yeah, wonderful.
And for our viewers, I wanted to say one thing, sorry. For our viewer, I wanted to say one thing. If you have any questions, any doubt related to Western Sydney University, and if you're interested to explore courses and scholarship intakes here in Western Sydney University, feel free to reach out to our counselors. We have offices in Melbourne, Sydney, Perth, and Adelaide. We are open 9:30 to 5:30 p.m. So feel free to reach out to us. And of course, if there's any additional information required, then of course, Gareth will be, assisting you with your admission. Thank you.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for joining today, and look forward to your applications and inquiries. And thanks, PFEC, for your efforts in putting this together today. And to all of the viewers, we do encourage you to reach out, of course, to one of our approved agencies, offshore and onshore in Australia. We only work with a few, and we do recommend PFEC's educational agency assistance to you. So thanks for your time.
Thank you. Thank you, Gareth.